Hey, everybody.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome. Hey, Mr. Brilliant. Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, a Brilliant said she'll be right back. She's about to share us out.
Okay, yeah, we appreciate it.
Hello to everyone in the bushes, as they say.
Yeah, we
I
got
hope you
some.
participate um, in the conversation tonight. I think we have a pretty good one. So,
I think so
hi,
too.
Vaughn. I don't know if it's Vaughn or Miss. I said what I said. Hello. Okay, it's probably Vaughn. Hi, I said what I said. Hey, Alice. So we have a good one. Kyra is gonna talk to us about Happy Wednesday. Yes, yes.
Kyra, can you see the chat?
So please, we need y'all to participate tonight because Kyra gonna have questions for us. Yeah,
Click
she's
on
gonna
the
have
side of the
questions
app,
for us. Please participate.
and there's a little box. Looks like it has lines in it, and it should pop up.
Yep, Kyra, can you see the question? I mean, can you see the chat?
I can now.
Okay, okay. Oh, you're on both channels. Okay. I wasn't sure if Vaughn was in here or if that was you, but you're on both channels. Okay, so I'm gonna let Brandy go ahead and introduce um, our guest. We're talking about financial health because we got to be financial healthy.
Yes.
Okay, Alice. Hey, Lady B.
No, this is
Hey,
not menopause.
so my first lady, Lady B. No, tell Pastor it's not about menopause. LOL. No, it's about financial health. And we actually have the pastor dope. He is good. Okay. Yeah, we're talking about financial health. Vine is nappy. Okay.
In fact, all right.
So
Well,
wait. So everyone, just so you know, Stephanie Boy is my first lady. You all met Pastor John. This is his wife. Okay, so we'll get started. We'll let Kyra go ahead or Brandy go ahead.
okay. Well, this evening we have a wonderful person with us today. She is an entrepreneur extraordinaire. I know she has a lot of things she has her hands on and she's doing amazing with. And Kyra is going to be with us for what, 3 weeks? Pardon me, Wednesdays. And she is going to help us get our financial health together and help us secure the bag. So, everyone, welcome Kyra.
Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I am super excited about being here. Well, as Brandy stated, my name is Kyra, and I am a personal finance coach, amongst other things. And I was super excited when I learned about this series on financial wellness because the one thing about it is, as with our physical health, we want to have our financial health in order as well,
Yeah.
right? And the fact that it's a journey makes it so much better in that you have several conversations because there's a lot to financial wellness, right? And we're just going to go in a very, what I would say, make sense progression in terms of how we begin to talk about our finances. So, tonight specifically, we're going to be dealing with money mindset, understanding your money story, and talking about healing your money trauma. Yes, you heard that correctly. Money trauma, because people don't realize. trauma that they have related to money, especially when it was just how it is, right? But it doesn't always have to stay that way. So we'll get into that in a little while. But I do not want this to just be a presentation. I want it to be a conversation. So I will ask that you interact in the chat like I see a lot of you doing now. So thank you with that. And I will give like different prompts as we're talking about different situations. So to begin with, I want to ask a question. What's one word that describes how you feel about money right now? One word. And I'll give you a second to think about it.
One word. How I
One
feel
word.
about money. Just one word?
Just one.
Ah. Ugh.
It's not as easy as as you think it would be. You
Okay,
think, oh, this.
So a brilliant said stress.
Okay. That's real.
A brother said empowered.
Okay, come on.
So I'm still that empowered.
Okay.
I'm still that empowered. Stephanie, Lady B said a blessing.
And I see somebody says shuffle. I like that. I like that.
Shuffle the same thing as bribe Peter to pay Paul.
Okay, pretty much. You shuffling money here and there, trying to make things ends meet, so to speak. That's the way I took it, because that's a lot of times what a lot of people do in how they are in terms of how they manage money. And that's a real thing.
I know what I'm looking for, I think.
Okay.
And you all can help me later. But multiply.
Come on.
I like that.
I like that. I like that.
Multiply.
And
I'll tell you what I'm thinking when we get to that, if we get to that.
Okay. See, I wanted to say that to rob Peter to pay Paul. So shuffle was perfect to, explain that concept. Absolutely.
I don't know if I necessarily meant it like that, but we can come back to that. Now I'm thinking.
Okay. So wait, no, that's good though, because that was my interpretation.
Right,
when
mine
I
too.
read the word.
Yeah.
But what did you mean?
I guess for me I have different pots of money. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I know I got this reserve over here, I got this over here, or I know I got this coming from here. So that's what I mean by shuffle. So I kind of deal with it in like compartments almost.
Okay.
So, but sometimes, even though this compartment might be for this, sometimes I need to move it over here to facilitate what needs to happen.
Girl, that's robbing Peter.
It may be that
robbing Peter to
I
pay
don't
Paul.
look at it as robbing because it's
Because it's your money.
Yeah, it's my money. So it's like, who am I robbing really?
Okay, so you robbing Brandy to pay Brandy.
I guess so. But
okay,
that's how I look at it. Is
yeah,
get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so you have multiple pots that you have assigned your money to, which is a form of financial management, right? Money management, when you actually know where you're telling your money to go, as opposed to it telling you where it's going to go. All right. So we're going to start with what I'm calling the basics or the foundation. Again, we're talking about money mindset. Let me give you a definition of it. Your money mindset is your core beliefs and attitudes about money, shaped by your experiences, family, culture, and personal history. Now, it can influence how you earn, how you spend, how you save and invest, even how much you think you actually deserve, because that's what you think about money. Now, some people look at money as a tool and others see it as a burden. Neither
Mhm.
is right or wrong based on their personal situation, but it's important to be aware of the lens that you're looking through. So that's why it's your money story. It's your money mindset based on your experiences.
Okay, give me an example of seeing money as a burden.
Um, if you don't have it, it's a burden. You're
Okay,
stressed. You know what I'm saying?
right,
It's
right,
like,
right.
oh, I need money, for this purpose. I need food. I need my
And I
lights
don't
on,
have
and
it.
I don't have it. The fact
Mhm.
of whether you have it or not, it's still how you see it. It's how you perceive it. It's the way you think about it.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so for that person that thinks looks at it as a tool is because they have possession on it. And so what does money do? Money allow you to get things done. Money allow you to make things happen. So it's a tool to use to fund your lifestyle, to be comfortable, to feel secure, you know,
Hmm.
for all those things. So how we feel and think and speak about money projects onto the value of money that we attract. Since our thoughts, words, and emotions are energy, money as well is made up of energy. Think about it. Money is called currency. Currency is the circulation of energy. When we speak of money, we always say cash flow. Energy flows where your focus goes. So, in other words, what you dwell on is what will come most frequently. So, again, this is connected to your money mindset. So, when you focus on lack and what you don't have, then that's exactly what you're calling for. Whereas when you focus on abundance, then that's what you will attract.
So, so you focus on abundance, you'll get more.
Yeah, because think about it. What you focus on is what you work towards. You begin to do those things necessary to get what it is that you're focusing on. If you're focusing on abundance, you're going to do what's necessary, you know, um, become financially literate, right? You're going to learn money management, techniques. You're going to put strategies in place to be able to secure more funds. If it's learn a skill, if it's go to school, if it's market what you can already do, because that's your focus, you're going to do and go towards that way in order to attract the money. It's not like this woo, 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 I'm manifesting just because, right? But in fact, we tend to believe what we say, and we believe what we say is what we are thinking about. So if that's what you're focused on, you're going to believe it, and you have a much, much better chance of achieving that because you honestly believe in your heart that you can. So you work towards it, and you, as we just say, make it happen.
Yeah. Lady B said that's financial faith.
And is,
Mm.
and all of this is, even though I haven't began quoting scripture and things of that nature, but this is biblical. This is biblical, right? um in that we attract in the way that we're going forth, and again, that's abundance. And the word says that he come that we may have life and have it more abundantly. So that's our birthright, but we have to do what's necessary to get to that place.
Mm.
It's not just going to come, to us. So that's an important piece. And one thing, and this is just a fun fact, one thing that people don't realize is that money and finances is spoke about more than 2,000 times in the word, more than prayer, more than salvation, more than faith. And you will say,
Wow.
Wow, exactly. Wow. I didn't know that. Why is that? Because it's important. So to think that it's not something to actually focus on is not right,
Right.
because it's something that you should indeed focus on. Because again, it should be used as a tool to make things happen in your life. And yes, you do so for your own personal lives, for your family, but also for the kingdom. But that's a story for another day.
So Nisha is speaking. Hi, Nisha.
Hi, Nisha.
We're talking about financial health. We're talking about getting our money straight, getting our money together. And I just learned, which,
Not I just learned.
yeah, no, I didn't just learn because I knew this anyway. God don't want us broke.
He doesn't. He doesn't at all. So let's think about this, right? Have you ever caught yourself thinking like either I'm not good with money, or I'll never really have money, or I'm just going to be broke? All those things are limiting beliefs. And limiting beliefs will keep us stuck in a place where we never feel like we can move forward. And this is where, when we talk about doing the work of shifting our money mindset, this is part of what needs to be done. And it's also a big part of what we don't necessarily do. People don't stop and say, oh, well, what's my money story? Or what do I actually believe about money? Until you're faced with that and somebody asks the question, you just go on with how you do things. But as a saying can go, or as I said, when you know better, you can choose to do better.
Okay, so
I heard that. I never say the word broke, never.
the question you asked us in the beginning, right? So we didn't actually get to the point of telling our money story.
No,
Oh, okay.
not
Okay.
yet. Not
Okay.
yet. You ready to tell your story,
No,
Wanda?
no,
Okay.
because I don't know what my story is.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And so we're going to get to that. I want to I want to say a few limiting beliefs, but I want to give you some examples as to how to reframe them, because that's really important. So, for example, a limiting belief could be, I'll never be wealthy. How can you reframe that? I am open to the flow of wealth and abundance in my life. That's not saying that you are that now, but you're not saying that you can't be.
Right.
You saying that you're open to it. So you're opening yourself to allow it to, begin to flow in. Okay, here's one. Here's one. Money is evil. And
I,
that,
I would love to know how
mhm.
many people think that. Right? Put it in the chat if you think money is evil. But go ahead. Because
Yeah,
I've heard that before.
yep. I've heard it too. And I know a lot of people don't verbalize it, but they believe it,
Hmm.
right? And so, but a way to start nipping that specific limiting belief is, money is a tool that allows me to create positive change in the world. So instead of looking at it as evil, look at it as how you can use it to create change. Because, well, this is from what I have heard from those who think that money is evil. They say that because they feel like people with money is like selfish. And so if that's what they're thinking, that they're selfish, then what about if they are using it for good, right? So now is it still evil?
Right.
Or I'm not good with money. I hear that a lot as well. I'm not good with money. A way to reframe that. I am learning how to manage my money effectively and make wise financial decisions. Again, that's not saying that you're already there, but it is saying what you are working towards. So, reframing those limiting beliefs to positive beliefs is what helps you to then move towards that area of thinking, which in turn helps to shift your mindset. So, Stephanie said, I used to until I learned the word for myself instead of listening to people. That's really good. That's really good. And then
Yeah.
she also said the love of money is the root. Exactly. And so you can take something, a phrase that you hear that's stated out of context, and then begin to internalize that as though it's truth. It was never stated that money is evil. It says the love of money is the root of evilness.
Yeah. So a brother said, I agree, money is a tool and you can use it how you choose.
That's good. That's exactly what it is. But how you choose is the part where it makes or break what your financial situation looks like.
Mhm. Yes.
When
Yes.
you choose to use it.
So Nisha said, a new car, new debt. Right? Don't be happy and bragging. A car payment is debt unless you paid it off in full. Oh, no man, nothing.
But love.
When I see people in new cars, I'm happy for them, but he said her car, she'll have debt.
Right. No, that's real. That's real. And in the word again, it says, "Oh, no man, nothing but love," right? And so you don't want to, the goal is not to live in a state of being in debt all the time. That's not what you want, because that could be very debilitating. It causes a lot of stress
Right.
on people, you know. And there are situations where, for example, um, buying a car that you get financed, yes, that is debt at that moment. And so this is where having a plan in place where you know you're going to pay it off because you have the means to do so. So it helps in varying ways. Then that's when we can start talking about credit, but that's, you know, again, a subject for another day. So there is a such thing as good debt, bad debt, believe it or not, because using other people's money to acquire assets and wealth is not bad. But again, see, now I'm shifting. So, but that's good. But that's really good.
So Alice said, good people use money for good and evil people use money for evil.
I don't know how much clearer you can get than that.
Right. Right.
But you notice though, it's still all money, but it's how you use it
Use it.
and
Correct.
how it's being managed, and it's who's using it and how they're choosing to use it.
Right. Right.
So it's not the money itself. When you think about it, who is it? It's the person who's in possession of that money.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I said what I said I would never buy another new car. They depreciate so quick.
As soon as you drive it off the lot, 30 to 40% depreciation. And so when we start thinking about, because I did a study on the minds of millionaires, they never buy brand new cars. They have money and never buy brand new cars. They the cars they buy are at least 3 years old or older. Why? Because the depreciation has already happened. And then they purchase the car. But it's still a good, you know, a good car, relatively new, but they're not paying for that depreciation.
They do at least 3 years.
Yep. So like we're in 2025. If they're gonna buy a new car, it'll probably be like a 22,
Oh wow. Okay.
a 21, 22, because that depreciation has already been taken into effect when they price that car, because they know how people are when it comes to cars. When they see, oh, it's a 2025, in their minds, they're no, not in their minds, because they do it. They're willing to pay, all this money for it, to say, I have a new car.
Right, right. So Lady B said, that is when I felt like a burden. Oh, felt like a burden to me when people who share that scripture. I always felt bad.
Yeah. And because people, again, scriptures are shared, and when, if not explained, then it's up to, what do I say, your own personal interpretation, which may not necessarily be accurate. And so that's why, and not look, I'm getting on a whole nother subject. You want to make sure you're being fed, and that the teachings that you get, you get explanations behind the word. So you're not just, reading something or hearing something without the appropriate interpretation of what it means.
Okay, a couple of more comments.
Okay.
Nisha said, just be obedient to God's giving praise to God. She said, you're speaking wisdom. I said what I said. I'm so glad. Oh, she's so glad she don't have any debt. No one can come get nothing from her house. She pay her utilities and her house taxes once a year.
Now, that's a place that most people are trying to get to, where
Yes.
you don't have, debt looming over you, and all you have is your, just what I would say, normal monthly expenses, which, if you live in a house, you're going to have utilities in order for
Right.
that house to function in the way that it, but that's not debt. That's just an expense that has occurred during that month, because at the end of the day, if you move out that house, you no longer have that expense,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not using those utilities. So that is an amazing place to be.
I said what I said. Yes, it is, because I worked hard. My
Mhm.
husband and I worked hard to
Yes,
make sure that we were debt free,
that's good.
right? To live debt free.
Yes, and
And
that's a
yes,
big
we do
thing.
have, the monthly, trash bill, the taxes,
Yeah.
and things like that. But as far as I owe no man nothing, as Nisha said. So
Yes, and that's real. Again, that's a place where, people really want to be and strive for. So that's where having a plan, a strategy of how you can get there, will allow you to actually get there. So if you don't mind, let's move into
yeah,
the next segment, which is the money story, right? So we're going to go a little bit deeper into the money story. Now, that story is the narrative that has been built in your mind over time based on your experiences with money. So, Wanda, I know you said I don't have a money story. You have a money
I
story,
don't know what it
but
is.
you haven't thought about what it is, right? So here are some questions that you can ask to begin to, craft it. And let me say this: we hear these things, and oftentimes we tend to go to the negative, but everybody's story is not negative. It's not.
So let me say
So,
this though.
mhm,
When you can, like, if you tell your money story and it's not negative,
mhm.
then you get, okay, so I need to know, when do you tell your money story, right? Like, why are you telling your money story? Um, like, I would share different things, like like I just said, I don't have any debt. Like I
Mhm.
said, what I said, she doesn't have any debt. We paid our house off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But people may see that as bragging, right? Um, so I'm very careful and very selective in telling and saying I don't have any debt.
Mhm.
Um, that I don't have a car payment. I don't have a mortgage.
Okay.
I'm very selective
And that makes sense. And I get that.
because I don't
And
ever want it to seem like I'm bragging because that
right.
would never be. That wouldn't be the reason for me saying it.
Right. I understand what you're saying. And because I know your heart. You don't want to offend others. And you don't want them to think a certain way, like you said, that you're bragging. But at the end of the day, that is your current money story, and it's real, right? So our story begins from our beginning. So ask yourself, okay, did your family struggle financially? Were you taught to save every penny, or did you see those that were in charge, mother, father, grandmother, however you were raised, did you see them just spending freely? All of these experiences shape how we are emotionally and practically deal with money like today. Unless and until you've done the work, those things is what have you relating to money in the way that you do. But again, that's still all a part of your money story. So I'll give an example for a second, right? I grew up, my parents did not have a lot of money. And so I didn't see a lot of spending. Why? Because there wasn't money there to spend. Um, but I did see my mom make a list of the expenses or bills, for the household, and she would tape it in she and my dad's bedroom. And as they paid off things, she would, cross it off to say, it was paid, what little they had and whatnot. And why am I bringing that up? Because that has always stuck with me. And as much as I love technology and am pretty versed in technology, I am very much old school in terms of still physically writing out my expenses, my budget, and marking off when I'm done with that aspect of, the budget for that month. Where did that come from? I saw my mom doing that. Now, can I change it? Absolutely, I can. Do I want to? No. Why? Because it works for me. You
Right.
know, again, it's not a right or wrong, but that's part of my story, right? I took that and I incorporated it for myself, and it works. And yes, I make spreadsheets for people all the time of their finances, and give it to them and they work off of it and allow the calculations to do the math and numbers for them. I just happen to do my own because, well, I'm a little nerdy like that, where I love working with math. And so I just tend to do that, for myself. So here's something to think about. This is how you are able to really think through your money story. You go back to your earliest memory of money, and you think, okay, was it stressful? Was it confusing? Was it joyful? Like, again, my experience is totally different from my daughter's experience. She didn't experience half of what I experienced when I was growing up related to money, because by the time she came, I had different practices as it related to money. So I was able to teach her differently,
Mm.
right? Again, it goes back to that. when you know better, you can choose to do better.
Better, correct.
Right. So she didn't have the experiences of, lights being cut off. She doesn't know what that feels like. You know what I'm saying? She didn't have the experience of being hungry. And I mean, like, not she just said, "Oh, I'm hungry." Girl, go in there and get some food. You know what I'm saying? Not we don't have food, so we have to figure it out hungry.
Right.
So our stories are different, right? So that's what I mean when I talk about money stories. You go back from your earliest memories of it, and then you think through what has shaped your mind to what it is now, related to how you deal with money. The beautiful thing is you can shift it up and change it at any point. But knowing the root of where it comes from is the start of you being able to change it.
Right. And now that you say that, what's your money story? I remember my mom used to always say, and we were on food stamps at one point. She worked.
Yes.
When she did get a job, I remember her saying, "Man, I had more money when I was on welfare." Right?
No, that's real.
So I remember her saying that, and she used to always say, "Pay your bills. Pay your bills." Her and my aunt, pay your bills. I don't care if you don't have any money in your pocket, any money left over. As long as your bills are paid, you got a roof over your head, you got, food in your refrigerator, and you have lights. Exactly. You can be broke, but you're broke.
Yes. Right? Yes.
Over your head.
That just brought something to my mind. I want to say it, and then there's a lot going on in the chat. But
I'm gonna put some of their comments up because they got good comments.
Okay, that's a big piece. That's a big piece. You said, you may be broke. I really want to state a difference. There's a difference with being broke and being poor. Poor is that mindset. Poor is a mindset. Broke is situational. You just don't have no money right now. You may be able to get a check in the next 2 weeks. So now at that point, you're not broke. Poor is that's the way you think as it relates to money. And that's a state of being. You could actually have some money, but still be poor. But broke is that specific situation. And so I just really wanted to say that when she said that, what your mother told you, she was like, your bills are paid, you have food and all of that. So you may be broke at this moment,
right?
But that's a moment. But that doesn't mean that you're poor. Right. And the cost of being poor and impoverished is much higher than just being broke for a moment.
Right. So let me read these comments, and then Brandy, if you have any comments. Brandy, you taking notes?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Brandy taking notes. I'm going to have to borrow your notes. So Lady B said, for us, we lived in poverty, but we declared and tithed our way to financial freedom.
Come on.
Okay. Nisha said, you have no debt. Family members will say, let me hold some. That's true.
Yeah. They will. Look, they'll say that if they think you just have money, whether you have debt or not. If they have, if they assume you have money, you become their bank in their mind.
Right. So Nisha said, amen. And I believe she was saying that to Stephanie when she said she tithed her way out. Same with Brandy. I said what I said. She agreed with Nisha. Her family swears she rich. And she just learned to budget at a very young age and to only buy the things she needs instead of what she wants.
So she learned very early to tell her money where it's going as opposed to her money going wherever it
I
wants.
want to. Right.
Mm-hmm. And the earlier we build that skill, the better life tends to be, as you move on overall, because you don't have to crawl out of a lot of financial situations.
Right. Yeah. Stephanie said our financial burdens and trauma turned into a testimony and a blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they can, especially when you acknowledge, that trauma and know those burdens, and then acknowledge how you were able to get out from under it, and talk about it, and, obviously give honor and praise where honor and praise is due.
Yeah. I said what I said. My grandmother was tight, and her mother was frugal.
So she saw it from two ends of the spectrum, right? She saw somebody who was tight, probably just saved, and then, well, mom was frugal, so she probably was the spender. And so from there,
Frugal, I thought is
frugal, yeah. I was thinking it the opposite
you
way.
were thinking the opposite.
Opposite way. Yep.
Frugal is, you know what I'm saying?
She wasn't
Gonna
she
buy
wasn't
cheaper if she can.
Yep.
Right.
Not just willy-nilly spending on things. I'm gonna get what I need.
Nisha said, she understands what I said. I said what I said. I keep money because I cannot depend on no one but God.
Okay.
Brandy agrees with you. Yes. Money, good credit, and good character.
Yes. All of those things.
Yes. I said hello to Vaughn. She says she's listening from the bushes. We appreciate you, Vaughn. Who else? I know. Oh, wait. Oh, talk. Nisha says she rebuked poverty. Vaughn says, oh, she got a question. Does that mean poor and spending habits when you say mentality?
Okay, and if I'm correct, this was going back to the comment that I made about the difference between being broke and poor.
Right.
So spending habits, of course, that's part of what's keeping you poor, because how you spend is a part of your mindset with your money, right? So if you feel like you have to spend everything that you get right away, that's a mindset, and that keeps people in poverty. It keeps them poor. I get a check, and I'm just using very, very simplistic numbers. I get $100. I'm going to spend $100 right away because I have this money, right? Not that you have to and or need to, you're choosing to, because in your mind, you feel like I have to spend this money right away. And so you stay in that bracket of being poor because you didn't, but you feel in your mind, you feel like you have to do these things or do that thing, which is spend your money.
Yeah. I know I missed some comments and I apologize. We were real broke.
Yes, real broke.
Thank you, Vaughn. Yes, hit the like button, please. And share. Hi, SBK. Hi, Senna. So Nisha said, I learned by my mom telling me no. When I really needed help from her, I asked her for a few dollars and she said no. After that, I learned to work hard and not depend on humans.
It broke my heart.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's actually a very, very good segue into the next segment of money trauma, because when I read that last part, it broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. That's real. Because if you're in a situation to where you need some help, and you ask for the help and you don't get it, especially from someone who you think could help you, it really does something to you. um, Money trauma is emotional or psychological pain tied to a financial experience. So that's exactly what happened. So growing up in poverty, right? That it makes you feel a certain way. It makes you feel a certain way. So you internalize that because that was your reality. And so you either stay in it because that's just what you knew, or you make a decision to say, this is not how I want to live as an adult. So you choose to do something differently. You know, and this is a real thing, right? With people who grow up and their parents are on welfare, that you can see generations and generations of families where the women remain in that because they see their mother or grandmother, receiving those assistance. Now don't get me wrong, this is not a bash on receiving assistance, because at various times in life, we all need help with something. What I am referring to is how people remain on the system like pretty much permanently because they've become accustomed to saying, this is it for me. And then their children see that and think that that's all they can have for them as well. And so they don't do anything differently to not be in that situation. That is a real thing.
So
That's
that's like generational.
It is. It's generational. And like the way the system is set up, it's almost such that it's very difficult to literally get ahead when you are relying on the system, because you have to stay within a certain bracket as far as how much money you make. Because if you make too much, now they're going to withdraw the help that you're getting. And if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I need the food benefits that I'm getting, and they cap it out at you being able to only make 12, um, being able to make maybe 12 or $13 an hour, you're not going to strive to get this job that will pay you $20 an hour, because you're thinking, if I get that job and work full time, now I will no longer receive my food benefits. And you're looking at that as an expense. Yes, it's an expense, and it's one that you haven't been covering yourself because you get that benefit, but they don't tend to, it's oftentimes they don't weigh out, like they don't know their number. That's what I should say. And it's a whole mathematical calculation to that. What do I actually need to make in order to be able to afford my own grocery and still do additional things as well, right? It may be the difference between what you're making now and getting a job that's paying you $3, $4, $5 more an hour. Now you can break that cycle and then continue to excel in the things that you want to do. But when you feel like this is it, this is what I'm comfortable here, I get my housing assistance, I get food assistance, I'm going to stay here. It just becomes generational for families, and that's what they do.
Yeah, because I mean, again, that makes me think back to my mom's situation, right? So we
Mhm.
lived in the projects, so her rent was based on um, her income.
Yes,
right?
Subsidized, yes.
Yeah. So when she got a job, she did get off assistance, but she was like, man, I had more money because back then, they would pay the rent and give you food stamps and you had money for your pocket. But when she was working, all of that was on her own.
Hmm.
So,
And
um,
so, and that's what I was saying. Like it's knowing the number. Like, yes, she was working, but what's the job that she had, like, enough to offset what she was receiving? And if it was not, then she's like, well, it doesn't make sense for me to work this job and make this when I can receive the assistance in this way.
right,
Again, it's a way of thinking.
right. So, a couple of comments. Nisha said, "I promise her kids she'll never raise them like her mom raised her. She forgave her mom because she knows that it was hard raising, 4 kids by herself."
That's good. That's really mature in terms of the forgiveness. And one thing we know is that forgiveness is for us so that we
Mhm.
can move forward with what it is that we need to do. And
Yeah.
so her money story has become like very positive based on her humble beginnings.
Right. Good for you, Nisha.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I said what I said, you're absolutely right. That's what happened to her grandmother. She lived during the Great Depression and it traumatized her. She was always afraid to spend money.
Yes, that's a real thing. So that was her experience with money, and that was her trauma because during that time, because of everything that was going on, she felt like I need to hold on to everything I have because at any moment in time it could be taken away. We could lose it.
Yeah. I said what I said there's a perfect movie to watch. Claudine, the government ensured people stay in poverty and single in order to get benefits. Wow. And it is still that way.
That's so good. That's so good because that's the piece that, which is why I was referencing women. Because one thing about getting those benefits, you can't have a man living in your house. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to have a man living in your house and still get those benefits. So that's it's deep, but that's
Yes.
a piece
So,
of division of the family.
mhm.
So if you're married, it's a wrap as it relates to that. So that's how you do end up with a lot of single mothers that stay in that, and then their daughters do the same thing.
Hmm. Hmm. So
That
I
is,
didn't know, about the no man living in the house thing, right?
hmm.
And it had to be going on when my mom was getting assistance.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
but my husband talked about that with his mom and his family was saying that they would come and check. They would check to make sure no man. I'm like, are you serious? Was
Yes,
that a
yes.
Chicago thing?
No, that's real. It's real. Like they remove if they had presence of a man in there, they would remove all those things out the home, like clothes and shoes,
Yes.
anything that looked, like masculine, like it belonged to a man. We need to get this out before our check or house visit,
Right.
so that we don't put ourselves in position to lose our benefits.
Yeah, I thought that was a Chicago thing because I don't
Mhm.
remember,
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Nisha said, yes, forget. Or I'm sorry. Brandy said, Nisha, let me slow down. That forgiveness is a blessing for both of you.
Yes. She and her mom, because she forgave her mom.
Yeah. Devon said she liked that movie, Claudine. She also said the welfare system used to be strict. I didn't know you had to hide. Yes, you had to hide your man stuff.
Oh, no. Let me look at that. New stuff. So if they notice that you had a lot of new stuff in there, they're wondering, how were you able to buy those things?
Oh,
So,
oh,
like, I'm just throwing out there like new purses and, new shoes and all these things. They're like, they're looking like, well, how are you able to afford that? Where are you getting this money
right. We
from?
ain't giving you that much
We're
money.
not giving you that much money. That is such a real thing.
Wow. She said her mom was never on welfare, so her knowledge and personal experience is different. I learned a lot of things from her husband and his childhood. Hmm.
Yeah. And so that's exactly what I meant. Like everybody's story is different, right? And so when you begin to talk to people and learn about childhood experiences and what they've gone through, like from childhood and growing up and how they live now, you will be you will be surprised with what people experience,
Right,
and it can look totally different from yours, because
right.
that's why I said not everybody's story is negative.
Mhm.
Her mom was never on welfare. That's not her story,
Right,
and that's absolutely fine.
right,
you know your story is yours. It's just
right,
understanding it and then knowing how you're going to use that to navigate where you are today, right now, as it relates to your money.
right,
And the whole point is you don't want it to keep you stuck, good or bad. You don't want it to keep you stuck. So acknowledging it, knowing what it is, and then determining how you want to move forward is what's going to help you to move forward. Again, it's what you're focusing on. So, like people who dwell on the past and everything that's happened to them, it's not, we're not minimizing that these things happened, and you have the ability to move past that, shift how you think, use that as Stephanie said earlier, use that as the mess that you was in to become a message for your today.
yeah,
That test that you went through to become your testimony, to others.
right, yeah. So, oh wait, let me go. So, Sierra, my daughter,
Uh-huh.
she said me and her dad had set her up for failure, right? So she's now a homeowner,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
And she had to do most of the work, her and her dad, before his accident, right?
Okay.
But she doesn't have a dishwasher, and she has to wash dishes, by hand. And there was a mouse in her house just the other day. Um, yeah. She was like, I don't have to, I've never lived like this. My house isn't nasty. I'm like, girl, if you only, you probably don't remember the rat. Well, not,
Hmm.
we didn't have rats,
Yes, but
the mice, right? Like you grew up with them, you right when they were younger. You just don't remember
so
because
oh,
we had them.
that's very, very good. You see how you're talking about your daughter. Her story, her money story is different even from yours. You know what I mean? And how you grew up and how you were raised in your household, and what you were able to do and provide for your children is different. Her saying that, she wasn't prepared and y'all set her up, because for her, in her mind, she had it very good.
Right.
She had good living. And not
Right.
that she doesn't have it now, but what she has now is the responsibility
Ability.
of what it was
Right.
that her good living was,
Right.
right?
Right. So
And so,
I said what I said, and the dang welfare people used to come back and chat to
oh yeah.
see what was going on in your house. So disgraceful.
No, that's so real. And so this goes back to, there's a cost. There's a cost of being or living in poverty. It is. There's a cost to it. Things such as this, right? You can't even just live freely. you have to abide by the policies and the rules that someone else has set in place for how you're going to operate in your household.
Right, right. Von said, my mom, oh, she did receive food stamps for one summer. And she said she didn't know till she got older. She didn't even know food stamps was considered welfare.
Money stories. This is so good. This is people's money story, right? And everybody's experience is different, but it shapes who you are. Her mom didn't even let her know. She didn't even realize that during that summer she had those food stamps. She didn't even realize it was welfare.
Welfare, right, right. Yeah. Lady B said and she was raised never to talk about money. So when we were struggling, we were too embarrassed to ask for help.
I'm glad this comment came up, because talking about money, and I'm just going to say it, especially in the Black community, has been so taboo. You don't talk about having money, because if you have money, you talk about it, then you're bragging. If you don't have money and you talk about it, now you're going to be talked about because you're poor, you're broke, you're in poverty. You know what I'm saying? It's embarrassing. You're going to be talked about. And so, I mean, this is why really understanding your personal story and then creating how you want to show up as it relates to money is so important. And this is why I have no problem with talking about it, because we need to take it out of being taboo, because it's not. It's real life. Because we all need it. And we all need it. It's not the same for everybody. So if I can help someone, why would I not? If you can help someone, why would you not? We all need help, at different points in times. But if we're, closed mouth, then how can we get the help that we need? And if you don't know that being on welfare is not the only way that you can live, you're not going to do anything differently.
Right, right. I remember early on in my marriage, I had to borrow. Well, my husband, of course, he didn't want me to call my mom and ask her for money, but we needed it. I'm like, we need it. Like, we need it. So we had to borrow $300 from her, and she gave it to us. And I told her, I said, well, we can't, pay you back the way you gave it to us. I'll have to pay it back, and a little back each month. And I believe it had to be close to my birthday, because when I went to give her her first payment, she told me just to keep it, that I didn't have to pay it back. And that was like a godsend. Right. And
that's real.
And since, I've been working and, where I am now, I make sure I take care of my mama.
You and me both.
I make sure I take care of my mama.
But that was even a blessing that you was able to go to your mom for that $300, and that she had it to be able to, loan it to you.
Right. Lady B said her kids can't wait to ask for help.
But listen, you know why? Because they've created that environment to where the children know that they can come to them for help. But not only do they know, they are also acutely aware that they have it to help them.
Right.
And I mean, again, so because Lady B was, Stephanie was saying, she grew up poor. They didn't have money, but now her children can't wait to ask her for help. So their money story is going to be totally different than what hers is. They're not going to have that, I was, grew up poor, type deal. No, I could ask my parents for money. Not everybody had that.
Right.
And again, that's why, each generation, you should want the money story for your family as a whole to improve.
Right. Right.
I never understood why, a parent would say, well, I want my child to struggle like I did. Where does that come from and why? I just never understood that, but I've heard that, well, I had to struggle, but why is that what you would want for your child or children?
Right. Right.
Your children can learn lessons and understand how to manage money, how to live life without having to struggle in the way that you did.
Right.
You can teach them.
Right. Right. Yeah. And Lady B said they understand that, the support system, that family is a sense of support, right? It's yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that, again, they have created that environment for that to be the case, because not everybody's family is supportive in their way.
Right, right. Like Nisha was saying, her
My
mom,
mom said no,
no,
not
right?
I don't
And,
have it,
but no,
no.
right. And I didn't put this comment up there. She said that the money was, she was going to use to feed her son.
Oh, see, that's tough. That's why it broke her heart.
Right. Yes. So I didn't put that comment up there, but she said the money was to feed her son.
Mm-hmm.
So Lady B said God now has us in a position to position them to have financial freedom. Yes,
and that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. Again, not being in a place where, because I struggled, I'm not going to help my children out so that they don't have to struggle. No, they're gonna have to struggle too. We're one of yes, because I did some research on this. Again, talking about Black Americans specifically, we're one of the only races where we have our want our children to start where we started, as opposed to being elevated.
Right.
Especially when you have
the mic now, Kyra.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said, now you're gonna have me unmute my mic now.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you're on to something. I want you to finish what you're saying, but that's why I said that never has made sense to me. I just don't understand that about us as Black people. At 18, you grown. You got to hit the road. I begged my 22-year-old not to move out, and she did, and she got an apartment, and she's made her mistakes, and now you see.
Mm-hmm.
Now you see. So now she's got a little bit of rebuilding, but I don't know if we have any non-melanated friends in here watching, but white people don't do that to their kids. I'm gonna just say it how I need to say it. They don't do that to their children. They let their kids stay with them until they're 23, 24. There's a reason these kids are on our insurance until they're 26.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that, Brandy, so let me tell you my philosophy. Right? So I didn't necessarily, and for y'all that don't know, I got 7. 7 babies. So I didn't necessarily tell them they had to leave, but they had 3 choices.
Okay.
They could go to school, go to college, right? And we would pay for their first 2 years of school. We would pay. And we would support them through school. When they got out of school, they were able to come back here and stay. I gave them 3 years. 3 years, you had to start paying rent or find you somewhere else to stay.
That's a fair deal.
And let me
Yeah,
tell
that's
you
real
this,
good.
right? So the rent that they pay, you know, if had they paid rent,
Mhm.
and you still had to go by our rules,
Oh,
but
yeah.
had they paid rent, it's like I don't need their money, right?
Right.
So the money was going to be put up, saved for them for when they did get out.
Mhm.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
they decided we ain't staying here. So they did come back after college.
mhm,
A couple did. The
mhm.
girls did anyway. They did come back after college, but when their 3 years was up, they was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, bye.
They say
So
you got to pay somebody to be the boss.
the second, they could stay here, but they had to get a job
Mm-hmm.
and they had to pay rent,
As they should.
Mm-hmm.
right? And I went back and forth, you know, me and my husband, do we save that money or can we, you know?
And you use it. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then the third option, get out.
Not just get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
And that was at 18. So you had those three choices. It
Mhm.
was up to you what you
Right.
chose. So
Mhm.
some of the kids chose number one, and the other one chose
Number
the
3,
third.
Mm-hmm.
get out.
Yeah.
Get close to get out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But see
So
that was a choice.
Right.
that was the choice.
You didn't make them. You know, it's different. It's
Mhm.
a difference between I'm making you get out and you choosing to get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
sometimes lessons are learned by, young adults by virtue of them just needing to learn their lesson, and this is what they have chosen. But you had the ability to give them options,
Right.
which were some good options. Go to college and you're going to pay,
2 years.
2 years. Not every parent can, afford them that opportunity in that way,
Right. Right.
where you're like literally like, we're going to take care of it. Right.
Right.
And that's so different from, okay, you're 18, now you have to go.
Right.
Most
Yeah.
18-year-olds don't have the financial knowledge and
Right.
literacy to be able to sustain a household on their own.
Right.
It's glamorous to think at that age. It's glamorous to think about having your own apartment and the preconceived freedom that you're going to have because you don't have to answer to mom or dad. You can have anybody over, and that begins to wear out really quickly. You
Mhm.
start having friends come over, they're eating your food,
Right.
your bills going up. Now you like, hold on. Now
Mhm.
you're thinking about it differently,
Right. Right.
but when that's what they are feeling at that moment, sometimes they just have to find out, unfortunately. But making them leave when they know that they are not ready is tough. And I don't know that this is Kyra's personal opinion. I don't know that I agree that that's tough love, because I just don't know that I agree that that's tough love. It's putting them in a tough situation.
Right. Right. Lady B said her dad in his later days decided he wanted his children to he wanted to give them their inheritance while he was alive and not when he, was deceased. So they plan to do the same thing. Generational wealth.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's big. Again, that's biblical. And you can't create generational wealth when you don't know how to manage your own personal finances. It's all a process. This whole money journey is a process, and it starts with how you even think about it. Some people say that, oh, I'm not leaving my children anything, or we leave them with a lot of debt that now they're trying to figure out how to not only just grieve the loss, but how to then deal with the finances that has come along with the loss,
Right.
the debt that has come along with the loss.
Right. So Nisha said dysfunctional households. I had trauma therapy for years because of it. I never showed my kids what I went through because I had to be strong to raise them.
I'm so glad that she brought that up because that's a real thing. So us talking about money trauma and having it is a real thing that led her to getting therapy and seeking help, which is wonderful, because at some point she recognized, oh, these things that happened to me, as a child is affecting how I'm showing up now. And I have children that I'm wanting to raise, and I don't want to, put them in that same position. I don't want to pass that on to them. So let me figure out my stuff and how to heal from that, so I'm not projecting that onto my children. So then that cycle continues. That's big. It don't have anything to do with being crazy or anything like that. No, you're getting the help you need to heal properly so that you do not pass that part of your trauma to your children.
So Vaughn, what part what part were you talking about when you said your mind is blown? You're gonna stop complaining now. Lady B says she's laughing at me. Yeah, they had three choices.
Your choices.
Vaughn said that was a good deal. I thought it was a good deal.
Real good.
Oh, let me say this real quick.
Okay.
So they had to. Well, that's neither here nor there. Never mind. Therapy is good. I had therapy to what my mom went through. That was traumatizing for her and her siblings.
Yep, that's what we were just talking about.
Vaughn said that was the rule at my grandparents' house, except I didn't have to pay rent. Oh, so Vaughn, you said that what was the rule? You had to work or get out.
Go to college, work, or get out, but didn't have to necessarily pay rent. Now, my thing about when I think about paying rent, that's teaching a form of responsibility.
Correct.
And the paying the rent, it obviously is not going to be at fair market rental rate, right? You're living you have a bedroom and then shared space. So it's not like you like literally have the whole place that you are renting out. So with that one bedroom, I doubt that you were going to charge them $1,000 a month, which is fair market rate for that one bedroom. Maybe, a partial part of that, a quarter of that or something, whatever.
Right. Lady B said, yeah, we can't enable them or their growth or their financial story.
For them.
Yeah. Mom said she had a curfew and just clean up after herself. My silly self got pregnant to ruin her wonderful life.
It happens.
I was working in school. She said her grandparents spoiled her.
Oh, see, that's her story. That's her money story.
Nisha said, thank God for. Oh, so yeah, I'm so behind on comments, y'all. Yes, I'm behind. Hi, Kitty K. I didn't even see you come in. I don't know if you're still here. I'm sorry. So we have just like 7 more minutes. Thank you for being here, everyone. Please hit the thumbs up and share the live. I said what I said we should encourage our children to stay home longer. but they need to be productive. Yes. And
Yes,
that's why you have to work, right?
correct.
If you choose to stay here, you have to work and, pay rent. Yes, got to be productive. So, yes, I'm way behind on comments. So, and we're gonna finish up at 8:30. We're not gonna hold Kyra past 8:30 because we want her to come back next week. Um, Vaughn said her grandmother paid the phone bill, bought her stuff all the time, took me everywhere. I had it good. She had it good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
You
and
did
I
have
was,
it good, Vaughn.
yeah, I noticed really quick. Someone said that even paying a small bill, helps in the household, like the internet, and it helps to instill financial responsibility.
So, Vaughn, you didn't have to pay for anything? I think she said that. Oh,
Nope.
I never had to pay for anything to live with them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is awesome. That is awesome. So we have 5 minutes. Brandy, do you have anything you want to add before Kyra give us the last words and a kind of a segue into what we'll talk about next week?
No, I don't have the segue because I'm not sure. I feel like I've added all of my stuff. I've been in the chat,
Right.
chatting with people. We have some really good commentary. And really what I love is that I'm hearing of the people who are saying that they did have family that had it however they had it, whether it was they had it financially, but they had it in them to love on them and spoil them and give them that opportunity of, I didn't have to pay for anything, or all I had to do was this. All I had to do was go to school. So I'm really loving that in the chat. Oh, wait. I said what I said. Said she's been paying bills since she was 12.
See?
Wow. Yeah.
No, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Kendi
So,
K said,
okay.
let me do these few comments and then I'm
Okay.
gonna okay, so Kendi K said she didn't pay for anything. I had jobs in high school and I stayed in the dorm in college, but no, she didn't have to pay for anything. My job was to go to school and to get good grades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I
So
feel like
Vaughn said she's not bragging, she's reminiscing. We were just talking about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I don't take it as bragging.
Nope.
not a brag.
I don't take it as bragging.
Mm-mm.
Girl, you had it good.
You were blessed. And the fact that you can reminisce back and say, that's all I had to do. And, I messed up a good thing by making those choices.
Right.
I don't think it's a brag at all.
You had it good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, we don't. We really don't take it as bragging.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, reminisce. Yeah. I wish I had it like that. Which my mom didn't charge me anything. She didn't charge me anything. I didn't move. I moved out at 23. No, 23. I moved out of her house and then I left New York and came right here to Michigan. But I said what I said. Brandy read it. So she's been paying bills since she was 12.
Wow.
So that sounds like my husband. So he was 7. So he started. So he worked on cars. He paint cars and everything too. He started working at this shop. And he grew up in Chicago. He started working at this shop, but he started working and then having little money that he could give his mom because his mom would never move to the projects. So they struggled, right? So he found little ways, to make money.
Wow.
Oh, she said she was forced to move out at 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nisha, we talked about that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's a lot to expect of an 18-year-old.
A lot.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's their choice.
Yeah, if it's their choice. Mhm.
I said what I said. So she was working in the CETA program. I wasn't required to work.
Okay. What's the CETA program? I never heard of that.
So she explained the CETA program earlier. I said what I said, or Candy K, if you could put just a little snippet of what is the CETA program. Candy K know what it is. She was getting $50 a week, but $50 was a lot back then.
Yeah.
Mhm. For sure.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yes. Yes. He born and raised in Chicago. We still have a lot of family there.
Government sponsored job. Okay. County fund.
Government sponsored job. I was making $100 a week.
Okay. Okay.
Can you say it looks like a program run from county funds for probably low income youth, but they tested you and I tested high. So my jobs was to go to college. Oh, college campus and go to college while I was in high school. Okay. Miss Marty Pants.
Smart. Okay.
Right. Okay. And then Vaughn said, my family and my husband's from the city. Yes. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Chicago. So Vaughn, just real quick. So I was born and raised in New York, upstate New York. But I would go to the city, New York City, all the time. I'm not afraid in New York City, right? I'm not afraid. I take the subway. You know, I can navigate. I can read the map. I can navigate. Chicago, I don't know why. I'm scared of Chicago, right? Well, not downtown Chicago, but like to take the city, to take the train, the L, as they call it, the L,
Mhm.
right? And again, my husband raised in Chicago. Like that's his stomping ground. He went to school in Chicago. Like he knows Chicago, right? That's his home. If he want to take the L somewhere, I'm like, no.
You're like, no?
Yeah, I don't want to get on the L, which he's taking it because he's taking it, I believe, to the airport.
Mhm.
I believe it was to the airport. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
How is it worse?
yeah,
than
I'm scared of
you?
Chicago.
that's so funny.
I'm
I'm
My
scared
daughter
of
get on it all the
Chicago.
time. She get on it all the time.
You get on the L.
My
the
daughter
subway?
does. My daughter.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
scared of Chicago. The people scare me. But yeah.
so scary.
So all these comments. So did Lady B leave? Good night, Lady B.
Mhm.
Yep, she said good night.
Kenny K said more about the CETA program. Nisha said her and her brother first job was at McDonald's. How your mom took your whole check.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard of that too.
Oh wow.
Wow. Nisha, we need to have a panel and have you come up on panel and tell your story.
Yeah. It's deep.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Maybe
Um,
we'll have some space next week. I don't know what Kyra has planned to segue into the second week, but
Mhm.
yeah, she said she learned how to defend herself. I said what I said. So she's scared of New York and Chicago. No, New York is the best.
it's so funny. I went for the first time in September. My daughter was in a fashion show, and I had it kind of like set in my mind that it was going to be like fast paced and people were kind of going to be like rude and be like, you're not from here, hurry up and whatever. But it was funny because I was the one that was like, can you hurry up? Like, what's taking you so long? Everybody was really nice though, but it was funny because I was expecting, just to be fast, fast, fast everywhere. And then it turns out I was the one that was like, can we speed this up here? So I thought that was hilarious. But
Yeah, I love New York. I'll
it's
go
good.
anywhere on the train. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I get the subway. I'll go. I'm free. I love New York.
Yeah, I liked it.
But again, sorry, but Chicago, whoo,
I love
Vine,
Chicago.
y'all scare me.
I love it.
Okay, seriously. Um, Kyra, last word.
Okay, well, I just wanted to wrap up with saying that as we talked about, your money mindset, your money story, and healing from your money trauma, you can rewrite that as you live life, right? And there are, practical steps in doing that. Just really being cognizant of why you believe, what you believe as it relates to money, and then challenging those limiting beliefs by reframing them to becoming positive. And then one of the things that we didn't really talk about much, but affirmations. Affirmations is a powerful tool to help you to shift that focus that we talked about. What you focus on is how you begin to move forward and what you will then attract. So, speaking abundant affirmations or positive affirmations can help you to focus in that way. And then um, even just boundaries as it relates to money, which we would get more into in the next segment. And when we talk about boundaries with money, it's not just telling people no, which is part of it, but also, budgeting and saving, getting out of debt, all those things, right? That's just like the natural progression with your money journey and how you're changing it to be what it is that you want it to be. And then the last one, which we did talk about as a practical step for healing those things, is to seek therapy or get coaching or have some community support around your story and your situation so that you can begin to change it, because it shouldn't stay the same. It was what it was as a child, and as you grow older and you begin to navigate life on your own as it relates to your money, then your story changed. But at the end of the day, it's still your story, so you get to decide if it's going to be one that you're proud of as far as moving forward and or not.
Okay.
All right.
I love that.
So next week we'll be right here, 7 o'clock. Nisha, I do have a question for you, real quick. I would like to know. I'm gonna hold my question. The last night, the last week, Nisha, would you be willing to come up panel just to share your story a little more? Because I do have questions. Um, but you can let me know. If not, absolutely no pressure, no pressure whatsoever. Um, yes, yes, yes. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to share. And think about, even though I'm not going to ask you to put your answers in the chat like I normally do, think about what you will do intentionally after this conversation, right? What are you going to do?
That's good.
What are you going to do with the knowledge that you learned? Because my pastor said, knowledge without application is just extra weight.
Yep.
So we want to know, just do something intentionally. Make a difference with your finances, because our goal, we should all want to be financially healthy, right? We talk about mental health, we talk about physical health, emotional health. Be financially healthy. And Von, you are nice. Like, I believe that. But y'all scare me.
That's funny.
But and I mean, yeah. Yes. Knowledge without application is weight. That's what my pastor said. So, good night. Kyra, we appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us. We look forward to next week when we dig a little more.
Yes.
Right? And I will be more like I said what I said. And I don't care what y'all say about me. I don't care. I'm not bragging. I'm financially free.
Hey. You better.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.